A man thought himself above all. He mocked women, chased every shadow beneath the skirt until he touched her. She was beautiful, deadly, not flesh, but something far older, a collector of destinies. He had touched the forbidden, and the prize would echo through generations. Welcome to Ife Ancestral Tale. This is Destiny Collector. In the ancient city of Ile Ife, where the gods once lived among men, lived a man named Adétàn, a name that meant the crown has settled. He was a man of wealth, a man of charm, a man of pride. He owns land stretching beyond the great Obas River. His palm oil business brought traders from distant land, Ketu, Nupe, even as far as the Benin Kingdom. His house stood tall with 7 red pillars, and his compound echoes with laughter, music, and the clinging of cowries. But for all his riches, Adétàn lacked one thing: humility. They said he could never pass a woman without looking twice. They said his gaze was honey. His words were like palm wine, sweet but dazzling. They said his bed know no rest, for it welcomed a new body every day. He laughed at marriage. He mocked commitment. And though he had chosen a bride, he kept her waiting like a calabash set aside. Her name was Omolewa. Omolewa was gentle, soft-spoken, eyes deep like the Osun rivers. She was no ordinary girl. She was the daughter of Iyarewa, a woman of vision, long buried but not forgotten. Some said her spirit still lingered around the market square, whispering wisdom to those who dare to listen. Adétàn was one. The Babalawo read the Ifa and saw shadows creeping near. The village mothers spoke in hushed voices, saying a wind of consequence was coming. But Adétàn only laughed. "What harm can a woman bring me?" he would say, his voice dripping with arrogance. "I own my destiny. I shape my path." Then came the New Yam Festival, a day of joy, of dance, of thanks to the gods for the first harvest. The people gathered at the Oromiyan's grove, and the air was thick with celebration. That was when she came. She walked into the village like a whisper. No one knew her name. No one knew her kins. No one knew her purpose. But every man turned. Every woman looked away. She wore a simple wrapper of deep indigo, but it held her from like secrets in the dark. Her eyes held no joy, only depth. Like a well without a bottom. Her lips cough, but her smile never touched her soul. Adétàn saw her, and something inside him shifted. He left Omolewa standing beneath the yam totem, her arms still holding the basket of offering. He walked past drummers. He walked past dancers. He walked past the elders and even the gods, and went straight to the stranger. That was the moment it began. The moment pride meets temptation. The moment destiny trembled. He did not ask her where she came from. He only asked her one thing: her name. She said, Morókun, the one who emerges from the depths. He laughed. Then I shall dive to meet you. And she smiled, but it wasn't a smile of joy. It was the smile of something ancient, something patient, something hungry. The elders said that when a man plays with his destiny, he invites the gods to wash. And that night, under the full moon of Ile Ife, the gods began to wash Adétàn. They said, when a snake enters a village without a yeast, the wise look to the earth. But in Ile Ife, no one looked deep enough. Not until it was too late. From the moment Morókun stepped into Adétàn's life, something shifted in the air. Not loud, not sudden, but like smoke slipping under a door. At first, it was only Adétàn who changed. He stopped attending the market. He forgot to pay his workers. He stared into space, smiling to himself, as if dreaming with open eyes. His once vibrant skin, dull like palm wine left too long in the sun. And yet, he clung to Morókun like a drunk to his last girl. And then the village began to feel it. Farmers, men with strong arms and sharper minds, abandoned their farms, abandoned their yams mold and cocoa trees to follow her. Longing to test what Adétàn was thinking or drinking, hunters missed their marks. One man shot an arrow into the sky and never found it, nor himself. The Ifa priest's son, a boy of great promises, brushed against our waistcoat near the river bank. He laughed, then wept, then screamed, and by nightfall, he was walking backward through the village, speaking to no one. In her presence, mirrors crack without touch. Shadows move against the sun. And the flame of Ogun's shrine, a fire that had never died, cluttered out the moment Morókun passed by. And still, Adétàn saw nothing, or perhaps he saw too much. He began to dream. Dreams of fire licking the walls of his compound. Snake coils on his chest, drinking from his heart like a god. Dreams of his ancestors turning their backs on him. He wake up each night, soak in sweat, but still he returned to her. And what of Omolewa, the one left behind? She did not cry, oh. She did not beg. She fasted. For 7 days, she walked to the sacred stone of Oshumere, the rainbow spirit, and lay bare her pains. The village mothers saw her under the baobab trees, her eyes closed, lip trembling with prayers. She dreamt too, but not of fire. She dreamt of a black river, wide and endless, swallowing goats, shrine, drums, and men. And Morókun, seated at the center of it, drinking and smiling. Whisper began among the mothers. This is no woman. This one does not bleed. Her feet leaves no prints. She is worse than anything. One said, she drinks destiny. Men started to vanish. One ran into the forest, never returned. Another stood still for 3 days until he collapsed like an empty sack. A trader from Modekeke lost his voice, then his memory. Now he sits at the town gate counting sand. Still, Morókun walked the village like the wind, unseen, unstoppable. And Adétàn, he now looked like a man whose soul has been pearled. His riches faded, his eyes hollow. His laughter, once deep and rich, now sound like something borrowed and broken. He still called her my river, but he was already drawing. The earth was washing. The gods were stirring. And in the night, the ancestors began to murmur. If you are loving this, go ahead and like the video. Subscribe for more. Thank you. When the sky refuses to rain, the wise do not blame the clouds. They ask the earth what has been buried. And in Ile Ife, the truth has been buried for too long. A young man was found lifeless on the ground, his soul ripped away, his body empty without his manhood. The village was not at peace. All the women and mothers that lost their husband or son one way or the other stood up. They seek for justice. Some of the men ran mad. Some were missing. Some lost their memories. All the men in the village became powerless. They couldn't do anything. It seems their powers has been sucked out by an invisible forces. Yeah. People were afraid. No one knew what will happen next. The women, led by Omolewa, seeks for answers. The village priest, old, bent over his divination tray, whispering ancient verses into the wind. He sought guidance from Orunmila, the Orisha of wisdom and destiny. He tossed the sacred Ikin, and when it fell, the room grew cold. The message was clear and terrifying. The men have overstepped their boundaries. They have eaten Iwo. Some beauties are destruction. There is one among us. She is not flesh. She is not a maiden. She is returning. An ancient collector of destiny. Once banished by the mothers of the light, now choked in beauty, she walks again. She had found a loophole, disguised in elegance, fed by pride, welcomed by lust. And through one man and his lust, she is growing stronger and stronger every day. If you want to save not only your men, but the entire village, do this. Prepare an elbow she cannot resist. If you are lucky and she eats out of it, her powers will be weakened. Because among the elbow is a taboo she must not take. In the shadow of moonlight, deep within the sacred grove of the tree, the women came together again. Omolewa stood in the middle. No longer the abundant breath, no longer the quiet girl. She was now a vassal. Around her stood the Yami, the mothers of mystery, guardians of balance, wielders of unseen fire. They cycle round themselves with white chalk, bitter leaf, and bones of ancestral beds. And together, they call upon Oya, goddess of storm and change, Yemoja, mothers of rivers and perpetuatress of souls, Obatala, the sculptor of destiny and bringer of clarity, Mother Earth, the mother of all. Their chants split the night open like thunder cracks. Ritual fire dance, snakes hiss from hollow trees, and the wind began to answer. Adétàn, now a shell of the man he was once, tried to leave Morókun, but when he rose from her mat, his feet refused to obey him. He could walk no further than the edge of her shadow. And when he tried to speak, to cry for help, his voice was swallowed by silence. He wept. But Morókun only smiled, stroking his hair like a possession, not a man. The village mothers continued with their preparation. They prepared the trap. During the full moon, they gathered in the market square, where earth meets spirit, where they lie out a feast of pounded yam and bitter leaf soup, symbol of sweetness and bitterness, truth and illusion. Then add the forbidden herbs to it. They placed beside it a carved calabash, painted red and white, sealed with cowries and feathers of a midnight owl. It was a bait. Morókun could not resist a feeding of power. The aroma was too much for her. She became restless. That night, as she stepped into the square, veiled in blue silk and surrounded by a frog no one else could see, she smelled the elbow. Tried resisting, but she could not. She sat down and began to eat it. Hey. And then the veil lifted. Morókun's eye flamed, no longer brown, but black with burning light. Her skin cracked down one side, revealing shadows underneath. She was still beautiful, but half of her was smog. The spirit of the ancestor rose from the tree, from the soil, from the bones buried beneath strength long forgotten. They came, walking, shaking, singing. Morókun East, arms spread wide, and the sky itself responded. The war has begun, not with sword, but with spirit, not with blood, but with destiny, and only those whose hands were clean would survive the storm to come. When a serpent is wounded but not killed, it returns with fangs deep in vengeance. And Morókun was wounded but not yet destroyed. The trap has weakened her. Her shadow sleep. Her form, once flawless, now cracked like broken pottery. She fled into the forest of the forgotten names, where even spirits fear to tread. But the mothers knew the time had come. The war was no longer in hiding. It was time for judgment. Omolewa, no longer maiden, no longer victim, stood in white wrapper, her body painted in sacred marks, and around her waist the leaves of protection, spirit forged and blood bound. She was now a vessel of vengeance, not her own, but the vengeance of Moremi Ajasoro. From the earth, she called on the soul of Moremi. From the water, she summoned Yemoja's gaze. From the winds, Oya lent her rage. And from the mountain, Obatala sent judgment. Morókun returned, laughing. But this was not joy. It was the laughter of one who knew fear had come late. Her sick now cracked in ashes. Her beauty flickered. Even the trees bent away from her. And behind her, Adétàn came crawling. He had been drained, but not empty. Somewhere within him, a spark remained. And the mothers called to that spark. They told him, "Kneel before the soil you once disrespected, before the mothers you once mocked, before the woman whose heart you shattered." And he did. He wept. He placed his forehead on the ground. And in that act of humility, the chain began to break. The Okpa Oramiyan staff was placed as the center of the square. It shone with ancestral light. The spirits of Ile Ife assembled, invisible to the eyes of the uninitiated, but they were very real to those who had seen truth. Morókun screamed, her skin peeled, her voice turned into 1,000 crying mouths. She tried to flee, but every part turned to fire. She tried to seduce, but her beauty crumbled. She tried to fight, but found herself born in chain, made not of iron, but of destiny itself. And then came the final moment. The mother chanted. The ground opened slightly, not to swallow her body, but her spirit. And with one final words, spoken by Omolewa herself, the spirit you stole shall return to its place. The ground swallowed her. Then the village slowly healed. Some destinies were restored. Some lives were never found. But Ile Ife would never forget. Adétàn now walked the earth barefoot, planting yam with silence. His laughter lost, but his heart awed. Omolewa became a spiritual guide. Young girl gathered at her feet under the moon. She no longer wore white for mourning, but as a crown of wisdom. Let these tales be carried in the winds of time. For in Ile Ife, where the gods once walk, not every beauty is a blessing. Some drink destinies like palm wine. So be warned. If this tale stir your spirit, please subscribe, like, and share this story with others. Turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next whisper from the ancestors. To my returning subscribers, ẹ ṣeun púpọ̀. Thank you for walking this path with me.